Good evening, fuckers, and welcome to the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And if I sound like I'm not overly enthusiastic, it's because this is about the fourth time I've recorded this intro. So, yeah. Yeah, the previous attempts didn't go well, shall we say. So, because this is the 50th, I barely believe I'm saying this, but yeah, the 50th of these videos, I thought I would do something a bit different. Very different, in fact. So, we are going to be in a steam train. Now, before I go on, I want to make something very clear. Because this video very nearly didn't happen at all, because I'm getting rather annoyed with the increasing frequency with which this sort of thing is happening. Just because I have done this video does not mean I'm now saying, yeah, go ahead and request steam trains. I will make it very clear when I'm good enough to start, taking requests. It's not now, so don't ask me to do a steam train, because I'm not going to. It's the same as, asking me to do a route that I haven't got, or a diesel or electric train that I don't have, and I say all this in the request video. I'm not going to do steam trains or trains that are not from the UK or shunters, because I can't drive the things. And I'm not going to do non-UK routes because I haven't got a clue what the signalling means. It's totally different to the UK. I don't know the areas, so there's no point me trying to do them. But it never makes any difference. I still keep getting asked. So what I'm going to end up doing, in fact what I will do, is if I get any requests and it's for, a steam train, a diesel or electric train that I don't have, a route I don't have, or it's something that's non-UK, I'm just going to delete the request. So anyway, enough of that. For this video, as I say, because it is the 50th, I will be doing a steam train. It is a one-off, and if I repeat this, about 20 times throughout this video, it's because it's been proven to me that I'm going to have to, not because I want to. Now, when I first attempted this, I chose quite a long route, to put it mildly. I chose Settle to Carlisle. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. So I've chosen a much shorter route, and also a route that has not appeared in any of these videos yet, because it pretty much is a steam train only route. So we are going from Falmouth to Truro, which I believe is the entire length of this Falmouth branch line. It is not very long, it's not even 12 miles, so yeah, if I was any good, we'd be able to do this in next to no time, but I'm not any good in these things, so yeah, who knows how long this is going to take. And the train that we are in is a Black 5, which is not a bad choice actually of loco if you are still like learning how to drive steam, which I very much am. And it has 4 Mark 1 coaches, so it's quite a small it's quite a small train, which is certainly handy for this route, because so it's a small route with small stations. So as far as the specifics, it's summer, it's a clear day, and it's 11:30 in the morning. Basically I've made it or tried to make it as easy as I possibly can. Anyway, let's get this up and running. And here we are. So here is our Black 5 steam train. British Railways Black 5. And well, so the coal tender, and then the 4 carriages. Okay. Now, even though this is currently in the red, we are actually okay because the train itself is currently blowing off. Kind of thing that gets, you know, 5-year-olds into steam trains because it's that hilarious. I mean, that is where the term came from. So you could almost say, in effect, oh yeah, the train is farting. But yeah, as you can very clearly see, the controls of a steam train bear pretty much no resemblance whatsoever to any of the electric or diesel locomotives. So we will take a look around. So we'll start with this thing. This is the the cylinder cock. Now at the moment we don't really need to use this. If we have been stationary for say 5 minutes or so, we may need to open it then. This is, if you are stationary for a while, there is a chance of water building up within the cylinders, so you open this to drain it off. You wouldn't keep it open for very long. Certainly by the time, you know, if I have opened it, by the time we're doing about 10 miles per hour, that's plenty. We then shut it off again. This is, yeah, it's labelled as the reverser. It's actually the cut-off valve, but this acts as the reverser. But you do have to use it in quite a different way. So once we are underway, I will go through all of that. This is the small ejector. I've got to be honest, right, the ejectors I've not got the grips with yet, so I don't use them. The sander there, we all know. So here is the train brake. There is only a train brake. There's no independent locomotive brake, which is fine because I never use anything other than train brakes anyway. I never use just a loco brake, so that is okay. Again, these things do not operate in exactly the same way as the brakes on a diesel or a electric. So this huge great thing here is the regulator. This is basically your throttle. And then over here, these are the gauges that you would, well, this gauge in particular is the one that you would certainly pay most attention to. But as we've got the HUD up, yeah, we can see it anyway. But yeah, this is the one that shows the boiler pressure. If it goes over the red line there, then you've got potential problems. But if it drops down too low, you effectively, yeah, you've lost too much boiler pressure and the train pretty much stalls, and trying to get it started again is a real pain in the arse, and that is what happens to me more often than not. This one here is the brake gauge. It's a vacuum brake. All steam trains use vacuum brakes. So yeah, even though it's pointed to 0, that indicates that the brakes are actually on. We will be releasing those pretty shortly. Here we have something that is relatively rare on steam trains, an actual speedometer. Again, that's not going to be an issue for us because with the HUD we've got the speedometer on display all the time anyway. I'll also point out that yeah, this is where the firebox will be. but I have the fireman set to auto, so we will get additional water and additional coal as and when it's needed. I don't have to do anything to make sure that happens. So right, let's first of all start by opening this. So we'll have if there is any water build up, that is going to be getting rid of that. We'll now release the train brake. So you can see it's fairly slow on the black 5, and when it gets to 20 they are completely off. There we go. Okay, so next thing is to move the reverser forward. If you move it fully forward, it's 75%. So that's when you are first starting. You want to be put it there, but it's not going to stay there. So now let's start moving the regulator a bit and getting some forward momentum. Put a bit more. Now steam trains, well, quite a few of them anyway, this is certainly one of them, have two valves, two cylinders. Starting to lose a bit of boiler pressure, so I've dropped the reverse of the cut-off thing. I've reduced that slightly. Just increase this very slightly as well. But they have two cylinders. Now the first cylinder is used when the regulator is between 0 and 49%. And then once you reach 50% and above, it goes on to the second cylinder. The second cylinder is a lot more fuel efficient than the first. So in fact you are going to be using less fuel if you have the regulator in say 52% than if you have it in 48 or 49. So we are starting to, I mean, we're not exactly accelerating at a dramatic rate. Let's increase the regulator slightly more. We'll also drop the regulator down just a bit more to 52. You don't really want to be, in fact we are now slowing down. We're on a 1 in 79 gradient. Okay, we'll increase the regulator a bit more, because while we don't have the speed at the moment, we also are massively losing boiler pressure. It's come way down again, so once again I'm having the same old issues that I always have. Okay, let's increase the reverse of the cuts off. No, it's still coming down. Yeah, that's why this is coming up red. I'm losing too much boiler pressure. I need that to build up more. So at the moment I'm having to keep it at 52% throttle with full the cut off on full, which I really don't want to do, but I've got to try and build up the boiler pressure again. And you can hear the fireman is loading up the coal at quite a hefty rate. It's already 63% in the furnace there. It needs rather more than that. and the water is coming down at a fair rate as well. We're not going to have any danger of running out of coal or water, especially on a shorter route as this. But you can see I'm still having to build up the boiler pressure, but it means that I'm barely moving. I'm not even doing 20 mph yet, and I haven't been able to since we got underway. And I also forgot to shut that, which is also not going to help one bit. So maybe now that I have shut that, we might do a bit better with, yeah, bringing the cut-off point down. We'll increase the throttle a little bit more up to 60. Boiler pressure is coming up again, so that's much better. So I think, yeah, the big problem there was me forgetting to yeah, shut the cylinder cock. So we have Penmere Station coming up now. We'll go straight through here, but I will have a stab at trying to stop at the next station. In fact, I have a horrible feeling I'm approaching a red light. No, we're alright. Meant to press that one. The boiler pressure is now coming down again. We are still accelerating, but again at quite a slow rate. Boiler pressure is now absolutely plummeting. So I can only, no, see if I put the reverser back up full, boiler pressure absolutely nosedives. So let's almost had it on, yeah, just the right amount, but no, it is still going down. Okay, so I reduced the throttle slightly. It seems to be a sort of borderline case of keeping it okay. Now we are really starting to accelerate, but that is purely because of the downward gradient we're on, I think. It also means we are going to soon have to start braking to improve our, or yeah, to make sure we don't end up speeding. So to brake, you have to start by applying the throttle or the brakes and let them build up. But you can't just hold it there, you have to keep releasing and then reapplying them again. You also probably need to yeah, reduce the amount of throttle, because we don't really want to be sort of speeding up while still slowed down a lot better there than I thought I was going to. Okay, so brakes are still coming down. They are, yeah, so they are now off again. Boiler pressure is now coming up. It is largely because I'm effectively starting again to get this thing up and running, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was because of the downhill gradient I was on, we were speeding up at a pretty good rate there. So much so that I don't really want to be increasing the throttle, but well, let's decrease the throttle, put this back onto full, and we're going to need to start braking for Penryn Station. And once we have stopped there, I'm hoping like hell we are going to be able to make it. No, we're going to have to put some more throttle on there and hope that this will speed us up some. At the moment we are not, well, we're not gaining any speed. And the brakes are off. Throttle is up. Boiler pressure is low, but I don't think it's too low. But yeah, no matter what I do with the throttle, I mean the thing's getting louder, but it's not actually going any faster. I think what I would need to do is get ourselves so that we are effectively starting again. Let's stop. Not a great place to stop because the station is 0.1 miles away. Right, so cut off on full. We're now drifting backwards because of this slope we're on. Let's get the brakes sorted out again. At least stop ourselves from rolling back. Right. Okay. So we'll put some throttle on, let that build up a bit, now release the brakes, and with any luck we will start moving forward. Brakes are still coming off. So brakes are now off and we're rolling backwards. Now, is that because we're actually getting some forward momentum? Yep, we are. Now, I've got the throttle up way higher than I really should do for, you know, getting us actually started. So our acceleration is painful, almost as painful as watching this video. I mean, really, I could not have chosen a worse place to actually stop. Because that's a 1 in 60 downhill thing that well, 1 in 60 uphill we're now doing. So yeah, with the brakes off, we were only ever going to start falling backwards. We are at least building up the boiler pressure again. So I mean, there's the station. I mean, it's pretty pathetic sort of sight. This it's actually having to start blowing off steam again. Right. So let's get the cut-off valve at 0, throttle is at 0, so we're not gaining any extra speed, we're not losing any because we're now on completely flat ground. We'll make sure that all of the coaches are on the platform, and we'll have alright, it wasn't a planned stop here, but we will stop here. There we go. Right, so apply the brakes. In fact, because we're moving so slowly, yeah, we won't need to reapply. There we go. Right. Well, we'll let passengers off. I wouldn't blame them in the slightest if every single one of them just ran, got as far away from here as possible. Someone's brave enough to have actually got onto the train. So there we are. Everyone is, well, everyone's off. 1 or 2 people got on. We are 8.3 miles from Truro. So let's get underway. So reverser up to 75%. Start to release the brakes, but before they come down fully we will start putting some or apply some of the regulator so that we can try and pull away fairly smoothly. It's also helping to build up the pressure within the boiler again, which had gone down a bit. I thought I could hear another train, but one thing I haven't done yet. There we go. Alright, we'll increase the throttle a bit more. Lower the cut-off valve. We don't need to lower it too much. We are still accelerating. We're now on a 40 mph line speed section, or we will when the rest of the train gets in, but we're also now back on a 1 in 60 uphill section, so that is really going to affect our acceleration rate. We are still accelerating though. I mean, but we're only doing 10 mph. And in fact, we are now slowing down. This uphill gradient is now 1 in 59. We need to so we're now at 52% throttle, which means we're now using the second cylinder. We are accelerating again, and we are accelerating at a better rate than we were, but it's still not good. are now having to blow steam off again. The thing is, because I am far from, you know, any good with steam trains, as if you need me to tell you that, having watched this so far. Yeah, I do not know how to improve our acceleration rate going up such a steep hill. Short of increasing throttle yet more, but I was pretty certain that you didn't really want to be using a huge amount of throttle. Well, I think we've now got we have got quite an issue. The boiler had reached the red line, or it got quite close to the red line. Boiler pressure is now coming down. Okay, now it's going back up again. Trying to keep the boiler pressure in the green rather than this constantly flickering between the green and red. So I'm needing to, no, if I reduce the cut-off point too much, let's reduce the throttle a bit more. Now we're losing too much speed. We've now got throttle up to 70%, which is way too high, I think. I can tell you now, if I had known that there was so much of this section that involved going up a 1 in 59 gradient, I would not have chosen this route. Well, it's taken us an age to reach 13 mph. Again, the boiler pressure is constantly a sort of like borderline case. And now it seems okay again. It looked like he had just put the fireman had put more water into the boiler. So now we are heading downhill. Now our acceleration rate is going to really pick up. So much so that I need to reduce the amount that of throttle. Right, we're going to coast now because we're about to start speeding, so let's get these brakes on. It looks like we are approaching a tunnel. Now, one thing you certainly do not want to do on a steam train when you are approaching a tunnel is have the furnace doors open. Yeah, so he needs to shut that well within, say, half a mile, because If you don't, when you enter a tunnel, the backdraft blows through the furnace and effectively the entire fire that is within there, we are now speeding, gets blown out and incinerates everybody who is standing on the footplate. So yeah, he has now shut it. I think we'll be okay now. We're down to, yeah, we're going to be doing less than 25. I think I once again overdid the braking. So there's the tunnel coming up. I think we may even want to start putting some throttle on. We've been coasting for a while. We're now blowing steam off again. So now, yeah, I've let the boiler pressure build up too high. I need to start losing some. So I can actually do with, yeah, this being in the red for a little bit. So I can drop down a little. We're really picking up speed again now. We have a speed reduction coming up to yeah, 30 mph in just under a mile. But I've got to, yeah, we're then gaining so much speed there that we were in danger of speeding again. So we're currently coasting along at about 34. Let's just bring that down to 30. Gonna need to brake more than that. There we go. So we'll stop at Perronwell Station. It's yeah, much flatter ground than the last stop we made. I think I've once again overdone the braking hugely. Let's try and get some speed up again. There we go, right, it is on the up. Now, unfortunately 40 mph is the fastest we can go anywhere on this line, so I can't sort of, you know, let this thing go too quickly. Although, one thing I did manage to show rather well when we were pulling away from the other, the previous station, is I am not great at getting this thing started from a standing, well, you know, yeah, from a standstill. So I think the first, yeah, the first carry's overshot slightly. I mean, considering how small these stations are, Not really, yeah, any excuse for the first carriage overshooting. So, right, let's just open this again, just for now. But this time I will remember to shut it before we get underway. Doors are all still open. There we go. Right. So, shut the cylinder cock. Release the brakes. And just before they come down to 20. We'll add a bit of throttle. So we can pull away relatively smoothly. There we go. That's about the first thing I've actually done somewhat successfully. So the balancing act between the throttle and the cut-off valve, you with the HUD you do get quite a handy guide, because you have this thing constantly changing between green and red. So if you're in the red, you know you got problems, because you are losing boiler pressure. But once in the green, you're okay. You are gaining boiler pressure, but then of course you don't want to gain too much. So here we're able to pull away at a pretty good rate. In fact, I was quite pleased with how well we pulled away there. But we've got this really steep climb coming up here, which is likely to give us some problems. Let's increase throttle to 52%, so we're in the second cylinder. You don't really want to be reducing the cut-off valve below 20%. That really 25 is about the lowest you want to do. So yeah, now we're on this 1 in 55 uphill section. Yeah, this is quite the climb for this thing, and it's having a bit of a tough time with it. Let's try. So I've had to get the reverser and the cut-off valve down to 13% in order to balance this out, and we are still losing speed at a hefty rate, although I think that is more to do with this 1 in 59 uphill climb than my driving. And let's face it, my driving has been anything but okay. It's been absolute shite from start to finish, but yeah. Okay, so it's now 1 in 66. So it's not quite as bad as it was, but it's still bad enough. We are still losing speed. So now we have this tunnel, but it looks like we are reaching the I'm having to let off steam again, but it looks like we are reaching the summit of this climb just as we leave the tunnel here. So we may actually be starting to gain speed. In fact, we are gaining speed. It's now 1 in 99, but we are able to actually pick speed up here, which is extremely welcome. So we're only less than 2¼ miles from Truro on this train journey from hell. Again, Stevie's having to be blown off. Yeah, he didn't waste time opening the furnace, the fire, as soon as we got out of that. Yeah, out of that tunnel. Now, yeah, 1 in 66 down the hill. I think we can coast this. We're definitely going to have to control our speed here with the old control braking. Yeah, at the bottom here, 30 mph is our max. It then goes up to 60, but we are practically at Truro at that point, so we will not be able to take advantage of that. Brakes on again. Waiting for those to come on. We'll apply a little steer, a little throttle. Yeah, we'll just keep coasting. I think we'll put the cut-off valve into neutral because we've got the station right here. That 60 mph section is very, very short as well. So we can pick up another, well, 8 mph. So, well, I forgot about the, yeah, wasn't paying attention to the speed. So we are speeding quite a bit. I did not think that I'd have us speeding at any point on this route. In fact, we can even try and get some speed up again. We can get us to 30, although I don't think I'd really want to get us to 30 because, yeah, brakes on these things are not the best. So here we are approaching Truro station. Actually, I'll say that Truro station is still 0.2 of a mile, so, but we do need to start braking because we're about to be speeding again. There we go. I did apply the brakes just slightly too late. just make sure the entire train is on the platform. Yeah, there we go. So somehow we made it. So that was yeah, that was Falmouth to Truro. And if that doesn't prove to you why it is a waste of time asking me to do steam trains, then nothing will. Yeah. If I was using simple controls, yeah, no problem. But I mean, anyone can drive steam trains with simple controls. But with these controls, I'm nowhere. Absolutely fuck all nowhere. And you know, what more proof do you need than that? So but nevertheless, for the 50th video, at least it's something a bit different. So that was, yeah, Falmouth to Truro in a Black 5 steam train, and I can't believe it needs saying again after you've just witnessed that. But yeah, I am not taking steam train requests, and if you still need convincing of that, then watch the video again and you can see just how utter shite I am at driving them. Anyway, is that one done? I'm also out of requests now, so I don't know when the next one will be, but I'm sure there will be one. So yeah, we will see you at that next one.